there was this very challenging situation. You might have thought about, going further in football, but thinking about coming to Nigeria, which is home, and maybe joining playing for the Super Eagles or one of those. Did you ever make an attempt to do that?
Great question. You're really hitting some questions. That's probably one of the saddest but happiest times of my life, because I was selected to play for the motherland, Nigeria. Oh, this is what I've always wanted. Yes, we're Nigerians, but we're in a foreign land. And it's not our fault, it's by birth, mother and father. So I always wanted to return to the motherland. The fact that I had now entered into the senior teams of England told you I'm good enough to play for the Super Eagles.
Super Eagles.
Now, when I got to Nigeria, I met the coach, and I'm not going to say who the coach's name is. I don't want any issues or problems. The coach said to me, deposit something, please, in our account. Sorry? I said, I'm coming from England. I'm an English League player playing in the Premier League, and I want to give my services to my country. And you, coach, are telling me that I must pay you 1 million naira. Now, how does that work? Does that mean that all of my friends who are all playing in the teams have all paid you 1 million naira? Obviously it does. I came the first time, he turned me down. I refused to pay the money. I came the second time, I refused to pay the money. I came the third time. This was when I said, this is not going to work. The coach now took me aside and he said, look, John Fashanu, you might be one of the best players here in Nigeria, but you've got to pay like everybody else. And if you don't want to pay, go back to your other adopted country, being England, and you can become the first Nigerian to play for England. Maybe that will be better for you. But if you stay here in Nigeria, you've got to do the same as everybody else. I went, okay. I was substituted. I didn't play, I was on the bench. I went back to England and I became the first Nigerian to play for England in a senior England shirt.
And how was that outing, that very first outing? How was your performance? What was the public's reaction?
Well, it's amazing because I actually thought, silly of me, that the rest of the players will love to see Big John Fash playing for England. My goodness me. We played against Scotland, and I remember, because you get onto the Wembley Stadium. This is the Wembley Stadium. This is where 100,000 fans are watching you. Over 4 or 5 billion people around the world watching you playing football. And the crowd are booing me. What are you booing me for? I'm just coming out as all the players get called out. Oh, this player, everybody goes, yes! That player, everyone goes, yay! John Fashanu, boo! Nigger, nigger, nigger. What? What? Are you real? I remember, it was like somebody had punctured my balloon. It was like I felt sick, but I couldn't be sick. It was possibly, I can tell you now, possibly one of the worst situations I have ever been in my life. And just please remember, Wembley capacity, 100,000 people. 100,000 people, English fans. And not one of them is cheering for me. And as I looked around the stadium, in disappointment, I couldn't see a black face anywhere. And then one face at the front of the stadium was one lady, and she was crying.
How was the performance? Did that affect your performance that day?
Did it? Of course it affects your performance. This is what makes a footballer. You've got to have peacefulness. You've got to have continuity. You've got to come into the match feeling good, feeling strong. But if you come into the match and then as soon as you get on the pitch, you're being bashed by your own supporters, what's going to happen when the other supporters start shouting?
But it continued, but you had at least a good match with England that at least part of the public did come behind you.
No, not at all. I had the worst match of my life. It was horrible, and as far as I'm concerned, I would never even step out there again. It was horrible. When I say horrible, when you have one person and my friend called John Barnes, who they half and half agreed with, but me, no. When a ball came, I would run to the left. The ball would come to me on the right, I would run to the left. I'd run to the left or run to the right. I didn't want to touch the ball. Because if I make a mistake, they're all going to boo me, they're all going to laugh at me, they're all going to throw oranges, bananas, they'll throw sweets at you. It was terrible.
So how did you drop from the English team, even though you continued with Premier League football? How did you get out of the team?
I went to the next England match, that was against Scotland, and I hate to say it, I almost ripped one of my one of my legs in a tackle, and to be quite honest, this was the second match, and I was still being booed by everybody, as every player was. Some players can take it, some players can't take it. If you have a very soft, gentle personality, you will take the monkeys, you'll take the shit, everything, excuse my language, that they say about you, and you just play on with it. But if you're a leader and you're a winner, that's not how I want my children to see me on television, or any other children around the world. How does that look when I'm wearing an England shirt and I'm touching the ball and all the England fans are spitting, throwing things at me, booing me, and you think that I will be okay? No.
After some time, John, the situation started improving, and we started seeing many blacks come on for Premier League teams and the national team. What accounted for that evolution?
You know, the evolution of change is somebody, and in this case it was myself and my brother, John Barnes, and a handful of other black footballers. But I assure you, we went through a very difficult time to open the doors for our brothers who are now enjoying. I'm not saying that we didn't enjoy, because thank God we enjoyed financially in every way, and that was wonderful, but we opened the doors. I can remember when I was playing for Millwall, I scored 2 goals. I came off the pitch and I was so happy we'd won the match. When we got out of the tunnel, 6 policemen were waiting for me. The 6 policemen had to put their arms over me and shield me to get me onto the bus. They were spitting, they were throwing all sorts of things at me, and that was my own supporters, not even the away supporters. That was my own Millwall supporters. And I'd scored 2 goals.
Your name was so famous, synonymous to Wimbledon. And at one time, most Africans that I met and most Africans who were on the media felt that you had some financial partnership in Wimbledon. Part owner or something, or a partner. Is that true?
Well, this man, I was very lucky in actual fact, because the owner of Wimbledon Football Club was a Lebanese man. And the Lebanese think different to the English man. If it was an English man, he wouldn't even allow me to have partnership with his shirt. Forget it. But the Lebanese man offered me on 2 or 3 occasions shares in Wimbledon Football Club. But I had already seen a club called Barry Town up in the north, which I could buy. So I actually was the first black man to buy a football club in the UK called Barry Town. And I poured millions and millions into that. And again, we hit that wall. What's the wall called? It's called racism. When we got there, I selected a wonderful team, and we had 2 black players, because I brought the black players from London with me to the north. The players had a revolt. The players said, John Fashanu, you might be the owner, you might be the chairman, but we are not going to play football on a pitch with black players. I said, I'm sorry, I'm not hearing that. I am not hearing that, gentlemen. Are you telling me that the other 12, 13, you all got together and you said that you will not play football on the pitch with black players? They all sat there. Yep. I say, well, there's not much I can do from there.
And what was the future of the club?
What was the future of the club? Well, it's as it is now. Went back down to the 4th division, the 5th division. When you have a club that doesn't have harmony, there's only one way it will go, and that's down. The 2 players that I brought would have been excellent players for that club, and I would have probably sold them on for 16 times the amount that I bought them. But because the white players said, we do not want to play with black players, that finished me off. And I knew it was time to move on.
There was a time, John, we saw you touring Africa, quite a good number of countries. What message were you taking around?
You know, I was getting to know this wonderful big place called Africa. I visited nearly 53 African countries. I think I did approximately 30, 40 countries. It was for me to get to know my motherland in a big way. And I was very, very, very lucky because, I like to say it, I met with 28 different presidents, and every single president treated me like a king. I was very, very lucky. Bearing in mind that as one of the biggest names in football in England, I'd only met the Prime Minister once or twice. So for me now to go to Africa, and there are 53 African countries, and for me to meet 27 presidents, and they treat me so amazingly, they understood the fight. They understood the battle that I had been through all my life.
What message were you taking to them?
I was taking to them that to unify ourselves, to come as one. Peace through sport. Sport is a very powerful. It can be a weapon, it can be a guide, it can be so many things. But most of the places where I went to, areas where they'd had confrontations, areas where they'd had kidnapping, etc., we were able to start up with football clubs, and on the condition and understanding that if we found a player who was good enough, we would take him abroad somewhere. And that was the hunger for most of the players, the fact that they're going abroad or they have an opportunity to go abroad.
How far did that mission go?
It went very far. We took, I think, in the end, round about 300 players from different countries abroad. And each one of the players was very happy because they're also earning foreign currency as well. It was an enormous success. And we came back to Nigeria to do many things, Oceanic Bank, Football Challenge with Fash, or the project which we're doing now, which is Find a Player, Change Your Life. Because when you find a footballer, sure, you're going to change his life.